Okay, so my name is Bianca Casillas, and I'm going to be reading a ballad from Ballad of Birmingham. So it says, Mother dear, may I go downtown instead of out to play, and march the streets of Birmingham in a freedom march today. No, baby, no, you may not go, for the dogs are fierce and wild, and clubs and hoses, guns and jails aren't good for a little child. But mother, I won't be alone, other children will go with me, and march the streets of Birmingham to make our country free. No, baby, no, you may not go, for I fear those guns will fire, but you may go to church instead, and sing in the children's choir. She has combed and brushed her night dark hair, and bathed rose petals sweet, and drawn white gloves on her small brown hands, and white shoes on her feet. The mother smiled to know her child was in the sacred place, but the smile was the last smile to come upon her face. For when she heard the explosion, her eyes grew wet and wild. She raced through the streets of Birmingham, calling for her child. Okay, so then it says, she clawed through bits of glass and brick, then lifted out a shoe. Oh, here's a shoe my baby wore, but baby, where are you? Okay, so I'm gonna read it again one more time. So it says, Mother dear, may I go downtown instead of out to play? I march the streets of Birmingham in a French march today. No, baby, no, you may not go, for the dogs are fierce and wild, and clubs and hoses, guns and jails aren't good for a little child. But mother, I will not be alone. Other children will go with me. I march the streets of Birmingham to make our country free. No, baby, no, you may not go, for I fear those guns will fire, but you may go to church instead and sing in the children's choir. She has combed and brushed her night dark hair, and bathed rose petals sweet, and drawn white gloves on her small brown hands, and white shoes on her feet. The mother smiled to know her child was in the sacred place, but that the smile was the last smile to come upon her face. For when she heard the explosion, her eyes grew wet and wild. She raced through the streets of Birmingham, calling for her child. She clawed through bits of glass and brick, then lifted out a shoe. Oh, here's a shoe my baby wore, but baby, where are you? And it's by Dudley, Randall. Okay, so first reading this, I didn't kind of really know everything that had happened in the ballad, the kind of March of Birmingham. So I kind of, and then the words in the poem, like you kind of know the meanings of them already. So I just searched up the March of Birmingham and then the church bombing. So first says the March of Birmingham was a movement organized in the early 1963 by the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, known as SCLC, to bring attention to the integration efforts of African Americans in Birmingham, Alabama. So this was like a racial segregation movement. And then it says the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing was an act of white supremacist terrorism, which occurred at the African American 16th Street Baptist Church on Sunday, September 15th, 1963. So in this it says there were 4 deaths and 22 injured. Okay, so now I'm gonna go each section by section, and then kind of what I interpreted through the poem. Okay, so it says, so I think, okay, well, no, I don't think. Okay, so the first section is gonna be like the daughter speaking, and the mother, and the daughter, and the mother again. Okay, so it says, Mother dear, may I go downtown instead of out to play? I march the streets of Birmingham in a freedom march today. So what she says is, Mom, can I go with everyone else to go take a stand for what is right, what I believe in? And I'll just be like a regular kid, not really knowing everything that's the surroundings around us, and kind of step up and go march with them. So then her mom says, No, baby, no, you may not go, for the dogs are fierce and wild, and clubs and hoses, guns, and jails aren't good for a little child. So she was saying that was like really not an environment for a child to be, because it's going to be so hectic, so chaotic with everyone being there. Obviously there's going to be cops controlling everyone because it's a march, and then they can get out of hand sometimes. So yeah, there might be guns, there might be officers holding down the people marching because they especially if they're white, and the time of segregation, so they're not really like for them, I guess, so they'll do whatever they need to do to stop the march. And then the daughter says, But mother, I won't be alone. Other children would go with me and march the streets of Birmingham to make our country free. So because this is like a segregation movement and stuff, the daughter wants to take a stand with everyone, like her friends and stuff, the children in her neighborhood, because it wasn't right what they were doing in Birmingham. Okay, so and then her mom says, "No, baby, no, you may not go. For I fear those guns will fire, but you may go to church instead and sing in the children's choir." So because it was Sunday, like on Sunday, people go to church and stuff. So the mom was like, "No, you can't march with them because what if something happens? What if somebody fire shoots or whatever? I don't say it. Okay, what if someone shoots her gun and it's gonna be even more chaotic than it already is because of everything going on?" So she's like, "Okay, so it's Sunday, like we go to church, so I'd rather you go to church." And then, so I guess at that point, the daughter was like, "Okay, fine, then I'll go to church." So then it says, "She has combed and brushed her night dark hair and bathed rose petals sweet and drawn white gloves on her small brown hands and white shoes on her feet." So basically by saying like small brown hands is basically saying like she's an African American. She's getting ready to church. So she's not going to go into the march like she had planned, but because her mom wants her to go to church. So then it says the mother smiled to know her child was in a sacred place, but that smile was the last smile to come upon her face. So basically saying that her mom was happy that her daughter was going to go to church because church is like a safe place for people to go to, so she wouldn't really expect for a bombing or an explosion for anything to happen because it's like a place of God and that doesn't really happen there. So she was happy to know her daughter was going to be safe there. And then she says, "For when she heard the explosion, her eyes grew wet and wild. She raced through the streets of Birmingham, calling for her child." So it says, so when she had heard the explosion, she knew like, "Oh my gosh, my daughter's not with me," but she knew she was at church, so she ran straight to the church, calling for her daughter. Maybe her daughter was still on their way or something, but not knowing that. Well, knowing that it was a possibility that her daughter was already there. So then it says she clawed through bits of glass and brick, then lifted out a shoe. "Oh, here's a shoe my baby wore, but baby, where are you?" So basically, as she was running there, people were obviously there too. So pushing through everyone to find her daughter, calling out her name until she finds her shoe. Knowing that it was her shoe, she was like, even more stressed, even more hectic, bawling out, crying. But now she found her shoe, she was trying to look for her daughter. So yeah, that's everything I kind of interpreted about the poem and everything.